Next up would be Amazon. That's the one I don't think there's a case for. Here's why. A lot of people focus on, and by the way, I'm saying this as someone who thinks that Amazon very often is terribly shitty to sellers. But I don't think that they're a monopoly because Amazon only makes up in the United States. This year it'll be more, but in 2019 they only made up about 7% of the U.S. commerce. Okay, Walmart is much bigger than Amazon still. Okay, it's just in e-com they're much larger. So, and this year maybe Apple will make up a little, or I'm sorry, Amazon will make up a little over 10%, but that's not enough to say monopoly. You know, people act like Amazon is like owning the economy. They're not. And I think that Amazon has a lot of its own disadvantages too. And we're seeing that more and more where you're having people successfully compete with Amazon. I think Shopify is doing a great job of providing an alternative to Amazon. Same with lots of other e-commerce companies. Walmart is getting in the game too. I just think that there's Facebook is getting in the game too.
Well,
I think
Amazon doesn't have that big competition because the other competitors that they had before
because Amazon was first.
Underestimated them. No, I mean
Amazon was first.
First in the e-commerce arena, correct?
Yes, so Amazon is the first, and they've won so far. But now e-commerce isn't a secret anymore. Everybody is in on it.
Right.
Okay, and I think that Amazon actually has some significant weaknesses that I've discussed in this podcast before. The biggest being that the way people make purchasing decisions today is very much in a social commerce world, and Amazon has very little social commerce plays. They have a platform, or if you want to call it a platform, a platform for buying and selling goods, but they don't have anything to drive demand. And demand generation is incredibly important. That's what Facebook has and Google has. I think the ones that there is certainly a case for antitrust is Facebook and Google. But I think Apple and Amazon are not. Apple, they have plenty of competitors. They just make really awesome products that a lot of people like.
And to be honest, even Apple,
And
it's big
Amazon
in the
is-
US, but it's not that big everywhere else
Right,
in the world.
like Apple in the United States is the biggest. In Europe, it's pretty big too. But like in Asia, it's not that big. In fact, their biggest disappointment has been their lack of growth in Asia.
Even in Europe, Apple is not the dominant device. Actually, everybody has more. There are many more Android-based phones than Apple phones, just because of
Plus,
they're cheaper.
Apple
too,
is
so
in a commodified market. Smartphones are totally commodified now.
commodified or commoditized.
Both. You get the point. Basically, most smartphones are pretty much the same. It's just what brand and operating system you want to use. Apple has a monopoly on iOS, but listen, software is copyable. You know, Apple copies Android all the time. Android copies Apple all the time. I mean, it's commonplace. So Apple definitely doesn't have a monopoly. Amazon is a huge company and they're very successful, but they don't have a monopoly. And actually, I think they have some very significant weaknesses that will be exposed if they don't address them in the coming 5 to 10 years.